At just 17, Martha was already a single mother of twins, and the whole village mocked her for it. But one fateful day, everything changed. What the villagers saw as shame would soon become the foundation of the greatest story of her life. What secret did Martha carry that would one day make her the first billionaire in her city? Sit back, relax, and let's uncover her extraordinary journey. The afternoon sun blazed over the village stream, where women and children gathered to fetch water. Laughter and gossip rippled through the air, but one young girl stood apart. Martha, frail yet determined, struggled at the edge of the stream. A baby was tied to her back with a faded cloth while she cradled another in her arms, both crying and restless. With trembling hands, she tried to lift a heavy gallon of water under her head, her body swaying from exhaustion. From a distance, whispers began to spread like wildfire. 17 and already a mother of two, who will ever marry her? One woman said. Even grown women can't handle one child, another added with a scoff. Laughter followed, mixed with pity and scorn. As Martha turned to leave, people stepped aside, as though her shame was contagious, a shadow she could never escape. Martha heard it all, her lips pressed tight, but her eyes filled with unshed tears. She bent again to lift the gallon. The baby in her arm almost slipped. She caught him quickly, her breath heavy. At the far end of the stream, two young ladies, Stephanie and Cynthia, stood with buckets in their hands. They watched Martha in silence for a while. Then Stephanie whispered to her friend, "Look at her. She can't carry both babies and that gallon. Let's help her." Cynthia nodded. "Yes. She will fall if we don't. Let's go." They dropped their buckets and hurried toward her. "Sister, let us help you," Stephanie said gently. Martha turned quickly, her eyes flashing with pain. "Don't touch me. Who sent you? Tell me who sent you." The babies cried louder. People nearby turned to look, whispering even more. "Nobody sent us," Cynthia said softly. "Please don't be afraid. We saw you struggling and we only want to help." "Yes," Stephanie added. "We are not your enemies. We don't mock you. We just want to carry the gallon for you." Martha's voice shook with pain. "Everyone laughs at me. Everyone calls me names. I don't need your pity." "It is not pity," Stephanie said. "It is kindness. We are not like them. We don't laugh at you. We want to be your friends." Martha stared at them for a long moment. Then her voice dropped low. "Friends? Do I look like someone who deserves friends?" "Yes, you do," Cynthia replied firmly. "And today, we will show you." Martha's hands trembled. Slowly, she lowered her eyes and let out a long sigh. "Fine. Please carry it. But don't ever betray me." Stephanie quickly lifted the heavy gallon. Cynthia gently took one of the babies from Martha's tired arms. The people at the stream fell silent. The same villagers who mocked her now watched in surprise as the two ladies walked beside Martha, carrying her burden with her. For the first time in a long while, Martha felt a small spark of warmth in her heart, the touch of true friendship. And, dear viewers, this is how the story of Martha, the 17-year-old single mother, began. Stay with us as we unfold this powerful journey of shame, courage, and destiny. Before the day of mockery at the stream, Martha's life was very different. She had once been a bright girl with dreams in her heart. She wanted to finish school. She wanted a good life. But everything changed when her mother passed away after a short illness. At just 17, Martha was left alone in the world. No father, no mother, nobody to hold her when the nights were cold. In her pain, she leaned on Victor, her childhood friend and classmate. He became her comfort. Every evening, they sat under the mango tree after school talking about life. One evening, Martha asked softly, "Victor, do you think our dreams will ever come true?" Victor smiled and held her hand. "Yes, Martha. I will work hard. I will take care of you. We will build our life together." But comfort soon turned into a mistake. Their closeness went too far, and Martha became pregnant. When she told Victor, her voice shook with fear. "Victor, what will we do now? Everyone will laugh at me." Victor looked at her with tears in his eyes. "Don't cry. I'll stand by you. I'll tell my parents. We'll carry this burden together. I promise." He kept his word. He went home and told them the truth. But instead of support, his parents shouted in anger. "You have brought shame to this family." His father yelled. "You have destroyed your education." His mother cried. They forced Victor to drop out of school and said, "Since you decided to get a girl pregnant, you must now take care of her. You will go to the city and work. No more school for you." So, Victor left for Abuja to work in a factory. Before he traveled, he told Martha, "Be strong. I will send money. I will return. We will raise our child together." For the first time since her mother's death, Martha felt a little hope. She believed him. But weeks later, a letter arrived from the city. The words cut her heart into pieces. There had been an accident at the factory. Victor was gone. Martha fell to the ground, clutching the letter to her chest. "God, why have you left me all alone?" she cried. Her voice echoed in the empty night, but no one came to hold her. She had lost her mother. She had lost Victor. And now she carried two lives inside her with no one to lean on. Still, Martha made a choice. She whispered to herself, "I will keep this pregnancy even if the world hates me. I will not throw my children away." Months later, in pain and tears, Martha gave birth to twins, Kevin and Kenneth. But instead of joy, she was met with mockery. The villagers pointed, whenever she walked by. At her age, 2 children already. What a shame. She has destroyed her own future. Yet Martha lifted her head high, even when tears filled her eyes. She held her babies close and whispered a vow. "My Kevin, my Kenneth, I will raise you with dignity. I will fight for you, even if the whole world turns against me." And so began her journey. A teenage mother rejected by her people, but determined to protect her children at all cost. Not long after Kevin and Kenneth were born, a new shadow entered Martha's life. It was her late mother's elder cousin, Uncle Samuel. During her mother's funeral, Uncle Samuel had taken charge of everything. He paid for drinks, gave orders, and spoke authoritatively as her only living relative. People praised him then, but now his real motive began to show. One afternoon he came to Martha's small hut. She was sitting on a low stool, rocking her twins to sleep. Uncle Samuel stood tall at the doorway, his hands behind his back. "Martha," he began, his voice heavy, "you are too young for this burden. You cannot raise 2 children alone. Tradition says family must step in. Hand the children over to me so they can be trained properly. It is for their good." Martha looked up slowly. "Uncle Samuel, I thank you for the help you gave during Mama's burial. But these are my children. I will not hand them over to anyone." His eyes narrowed. "Do not be stubborn. Think of your future. You are still a girl. If you give them to the elders, you can get married. You can have a new life." Tears filled Martha's eyes, but her voice was firm. "My future is with Kevin and Kenneth. I will not give them up." Uncle Samuel paced for a moment, then spoke again. "If you are truly thinking of them, then sign over that piece of land by the stream. I will use it for their upkeep. Do not forget it was your father's land. As family, I have a right to manage it." Martha rose to her feet, her baby stirring at the sound of her voice. "No, Uncle, that land is for my children. My father left it for us. I will not give it to you. Not now, not ever." Uncle Samuel's face hardened. His lips pressed tight. "You are disrespecting me, Martha. You will regret this." He stormed out of her hut. A week later he returned, this time with 3 men from his compound. They stood at her door, their voices loud so the whole neighborhood could hear. "Custom gives us the right to take care of orphans," one of them shouted. "A small girl like you cannot raise 2 children." "Yes," Uncle Samuel added. "The land by the stream must be put in my care. If not, these children will suffer." "Is that what you want?" "Martha," the neighbors gathered, whispering among themselves. Some shook their heads in pity. Others waited to see if Martha would break. But Martha stepped outside with Kevin in one arm and Kenneth on her back. Her eyes were red, but her voice did not shake. "These are my children. This land belongs to them. I will not surrender them to you or to anyone. If you want to fight me, then fight. But I will never give them away." There was silence. The men exchanged glances. Uncle Samuel's jaw tightened with anger. But Martha stood her ground. That day she realized her battle was bigger than hunger and mockery. She was not only fighting poverty, she was also fighting those who wanted to strip her of the little she had left. One morning, Kenneth's body grew hot with fever. His tiny chest rose and fell too quickly. His cries were weak and painful. Martha's heart pounded. "No, no, please stay with me," she whispered, as tears rolled down her cheeks. She tied Kenneth to her back and carried Kevin in her arms. Running barefoot, she hurried to the village clinic. Inside, she begged the doctor, Please, my son is dying. Help me. The doctor checked Kenneth and shook his head. He needs urgent treatment, but you must deposit 50,000 naira first before we commence treatment. No treatment without payment. Martha's mouth dropped open. 50,000. Doctor, I don't have it. Please start the treatment. I will pay. I beg you. But the doctor's face was hard. No money, no treatment. That is the rule. Tears filled Martha's eyes. She dropped to her knees. Please save my child. They're all I have. Please. The doctor turned away. Kenneth's cry grew weaker. Martha rushed out of the clinic, her whole body shaking with fear. She ran from house to house, knocking on doors, holding Kenneth close. Please help me. I don't want to lose my child, she cried. Even if it's a small amount. Please help me. The doctor insists I must make a deposit of 50,000 naira before he commences treatment. Some neighbors gave what they could. A few handed her coins. Others shut their doors. Martha kept begging, her voice breaking. When Uncle Samuel heard that she was going around pleading for money, he smiled to himself. Now is the time, he muttered. That evening he came to her. His voice was calm, almost kind. Martha, I heard about Kenneth. I'm sorry. I can give you the 50,000 right here, right now. Martha's eyes lit up with hope. Please, Uncle, help me. My child is dying. Uncle Samuel's face hardened. But there is one condition. The land by the stream. Sign it over to me, and I will give you the money today. Martha's whole body froze. She looked at her sick child, then back at Uncle Samuel. You want me to sell my father's land for my son's life? Yes, he replied coldly. It is a small price to pay. Choose, Martha. The land or the child. Tears rolled down Martha's face. She fell to her knees. Uncle Samuel, please do not use my pain against me. This land is all my children have left. I cannot give it away. Then let the boy die, Uncle Samuel said, turning to leave. No, Martha screamed, her voice breaking. Neighbors gathered at the sound of her cries. When they heard what happened, some were moved with pity. They dug into their small savings. Some gave 500, others gave one. Bit by bit, they scraped together the money. By morning, Martha ran back to the clinic. The deposit was paid. Kenneth received treatment. Slowly, his breathing calmed, and life returned to his little body. Martha held him close, her lips trembling, as she whispered, I will not lose any of my children, not while I still breathe. But deep in her heart, she also knew something else. Uncle Samuel would never stop until he got the land. And what she did not know was that the same land he tried to snatch was the very key that would very soon change her life forever. Not long after Kenneth recovered, something happened in the village that no one expected. A man arrived quietly one evening. His name was Mr. Peter. Many of the elders remembered him well. Over 20 years ago, when he was in his early 30s, he had left the country in search of a better life. People said he worked hard overseas, built a career, married, and raised a family there. Now, after so many years, he had returned. This time, he was not coming back empty-handed. He had come to build a house for his elderly mother, and also prepare for his wife and children who would soon be visiting the village for the first time. The news of his return spread quickly. Some people were envious, some were excited, others just waited to see the kind of man he had become. One bright morning, Mr. Peter decided to take a walk around the village with his mother. The old woman was happy, her face glowing with pride. She showed him different lands she had bought over the years with the money he sent from abroad. Look, my son, she said, pointing to a large piece of farmland. This one I bought after you sent money the year your second child was born. And here, she added as they walked further, this small plot near the stream, it is also yours. Mr. Peter smiled. The morning sun was rising higher and the weather grew hot. Sweat gathered on his forehead. He reached into his back pocket and pulled out a handkerchief to wipe his face. But as he did, something else slipped out of the same pocket. His wallet. Neither he nor his mother noticed. They kept walking, still talking about the lands and their plans. The wallet lay quietly on the dusty ground behind them. The leather was slightly open. Inside were foreign notes, local currency, and several important cards. No one knew yet that the wallet was there, but that wallet was about to create an encounter that would change someone's life forever. That same morning, Martha was on her way back from the village stream. A 25 gallon of water balanced carefully on her head. Kenneth was tied to her back while she carried Kevin in one arm as she walked. The sun was already hot. beating down on her tired body. Sweat rolled down her face, but she did not stop. This was her life. Every morning, she carried heavy water, her children, and her pain along the rough, narrow path home. As she walked slowly, she noticed something lying by the side of the road. She stopped. It was a black leather wallet. Martha frowned. "What is this?" she whispered. The wallet looked new, expensive, and foreign. It was the kind of thing nobody in that village could afford. She stood still, staring at it for a while. Her first thought was to ignore it. Maybe it belongs to someone dangerous, she told herself. If I pick it, people may say I stole it. After a while, she dropped the heavy gallon of water on the ground and bent down slowly. With shaky hands, she picked it up. The leather was soft and smooth. It felt like something from another world. She opened it carefully. Her eyes widened. Inside were a few naira notes, but also a lot of foreign currency she had never seen before. There were also several identification cards with pictures of a man she did not know. Her heart began to beat faster. Who could have left this kind of wallet here? She thought to herself. The person might not even know it has fallen. And it is clear this person does not live in this village. For a long moment she stood there, her mind turning in circles. She could almost hear the voices of the villagers in her head. If you take it home, they will call you a thief. If you leave it here, someone else will take it. But what if the owner comes back for it? Martha pressed the wallet into the fold of her wrapper, hiding it close to her body. She bent, lifted the heavy gallon back onto her head, and adjusted Kenneth on her back. With Kevin still on her arm, she continued walking slowly home. Her thoughts were restless. She had no idea that the wallet she now carried would soon open a door that would change her life forever. When Martha finally reached home, she saw Stephanie and Cynthia already waiting in front of her small hut. They had come to visit her. "Ah, you are back," Cynthia said with a smile. She quickly reached for the heavy gallon on Martha's head. "Let me help you with this." "Thank you," Martha said softly, lowering her body so Cynthia could lift it down. Stephanie stretched out her hands and carried Kevin from Martha's arm. "Come here, small man," she said playfully, kissing the boy's cheek. For a moment there was laughter between them, but Cynthia noticed something. Martha's eyes looked troubled. Even when she smiled, her face showed worry. "Martha," Cynthia asked gently, "is something wrong? You look worried." Martha sighed deeply. She sat on the wooden bench outside her hut and pressed her hand on her chest. "My sisters, something happened on my way back from the stream." "What is it?" Stephanie asked quickly. Martha hesitated, then untied her wrapper carefully. From inside, she pulled out the black leather wallet, while also untying little Kenneth, who was still at her back. Stephanie and Cynthia both leaned forward. "What is that?" Cynthia asked. "I found it by the roadside," Martha said. She opened the wallet. Their eyes widened when they saw the money inside. A huge amount of foreign currency neatly arranged, and tucked beside it, some naira notes and identification cards. "And my goodness," Cynthia whispered. "This money is more than anything I have ever seen in my life." Stephanie's eyes caught one of the ID cards. She picked it up slowly. "Wait, I think I know who this is. Haven't you heard about the Akibis? That family whose son just returned from overseas after many years. They say he came back with plenty wealth." "Yes," Cynthia nodded. "I heard. People have been talking about him. So this wallet must be his." They both looked at Martha. Silence filled the air for a while. Then Cynthia leaned closer. "Martha, what are you going to do now? I hope you are not thinking of returning this wallet. My dear, maybe this is God's way of helping you. This money is worth millions of naira. You can raise your children with, you can start a business." Martha's hands trembled. Her lips quivered. "But if I keep it, will it not bring trouble?" Stephanie spoke softly. "It is true. This money can change your life. It can feed Kevin and Kenneth. But I cannot tell you to keep. If you decide to return it, I will still stand with you. Whatever you choose, I will support you." Martha looked down at the wallet in her hands. Her fingers shook as she pressed it shut. Her voice was low, almost breaking. "I will take my time. I will think carefully before I decide what to do with this money." The three friends sat in silence for a moment. Then Cynthia laughed to ease the tension. "Well, whatever you decide, don't forget to keep my own share of the money." They all laughed. But deep inside, Martha's heart was heavy. She knew this wallet was not just money. It was a test that could either save her life or destroy it. That same evening, Mr. Peter was getting ready to step out. He reached for his pocket to pick his wallet, but it was not there. He frowned. He checked the table. He searched the bed. He turned over the chair cushions. Still nothing. "Where is this wallet?" he muttered. He pulled out the trousers he had worn that morning and searched every pocket carefully. Empty. Finally, with worry written on his face, he walked into the sitting room where his mother sat. "Mama," he said, his voice tight, "I cannot find my wallet. I have searched everywhere. There is something very important inside. A crucial document I folded in there. If I lose it, it will cost me greatly." His mother looked at him with concern. "My son, calm down. Do not panic. You will find it. You will find it. Let us keep faith." But Peter shook his head. "Mama, you don't understand. That wallet is not just about money. Without that document, my work here will be delayed." His mother placed her hand on his shoulder gently. "We will pray. God will not allow it to be lost." Peter sighed deeply, grabbed his car keys, and stepped outside. He entered his car and sat inside. At the other end of the village, Martha had spent the whole day thinking. She looked at her children as they played, and whispered to herself, "No amount of money is worth my peace. I will return the wallet." She tied Kenneth to her back, and carried Kevin in her arms. With the wallet hidden in her wrapper, she walked towards the Achebe family compound. Her heart pounded as she walked. Just before she reached the compound, she heard the sound of a car engine. She stepped aside quickly, clutching her children close. A shiny car drove past her, raising a little dust. Inside the car was Mr. Peter, his face still heavy with worry. He was heading out, not knowing that the person carrying his missing wallet was only a few steps away. Martha stood still, her heart beating fast. Was that the owner? She thought. She wanted to call out, but the car had already gone far. She sighed and continued walking. When she finally entered the Achebe compound, she saw an elderly woman sitting in front of the entrance door. It was Peter's mother. Martha bent low in greeting. "Good evening, Mama." The old woman smiled warmly. "My daughter, how are you? How are the children doing?" "They are fine, Mama," Martha replied softly. After the pleasantries, she moved closer and lowered her voice. "Mama, I heard your son, Uncle Peter, came back." "Yes." The old woman nodded with a proud smile. "He just stepped out now. You missed him." Martha hesitated, then untied her wrapper slowly. She brought out the black leather wallet and placed it in Mama's hand. "I found this on my way back from the stream this morning." The woman's eyes widened. She opened it and saw everything inside. "My daughter, my son has been searching for this since morning. You do not know what you have done. God bless you. You are such a good girl. Thank you so much." Martha lowered her head humbly. "It is nothing, Mama. I only did what is right." The old woman squeezed her hand with gratitude. "May the Lord reward you. Your children will never lack." Martha smiled faintly, carried her children and turned to leave. She walked out of the compound quietly, not knowing that this single act of honesty was about to change her story forever. That night, when Mr. Peter returned home, his mother was waiting for him at the entrance. In her hand, she held up the black leather wallet. "My son," she said with a smile. "Is this the wallet you were looking for?" Peter froze. His eyes widened in shock. He quickly stepped closer and took the wallet from her hands. "Oh my goodness, Mama. Where did you find it?" His voice shook with relief as he opened it and checked inside. Everything was still there. The money, the documents. Nothing missing. Peter dropped into a chair, pressing the wallet against his chest. "Mama, you don't understand. This wallet carries a document I can't lose. If I'd lost it, it would have cost me a lot. Tell me, how did you find it?" His mother smiled and gestured for him to sit properly. "Calm down, my son. Let me tell you the story." Peter leaned forward eagerly. His mother began. "Earlier today, after you left, a young girl came here. She carried two babies, one tied to her back and one in her arm. She bent down and greeted me with respect. Then she pulled this wallet from her wrapper and gave it to me. She said she found it on the road, near the stream." Peter raised his head quickly. A young girl. Who is she? His mother's eyes softened. Her name is Martha. She is only 17. She lost both parents. People in this village mock her every day because she has two children at her age. But in all her suffering, she returned what was not hers. My son, that girl is honest and she is kind. Peter was silent for a moment, his eyes fixed on the wallet. His heart was moved. So? The same girl everyone talks about. The one they laugh at. Yes? His mother nodded. The same one. They call her names. They shame her. But today she proved that her heart is pure. Peter leaned back, a mix of relief and pity on his face. Mama, this world is strange. The people we despise may be the ones with the greatest hearts. If this girl had kept the wallet, I wouldn't have known. But she brought it back. His mother reached for his hand gently. Tomorrow you must visit her. You must thank her yourself. She deserves it. Peter nodded firmly. Yes, Mama, tomorrow I will go to her. That girl has done something no one else would have done. I will not forget it. He held the wallet tightly in his hands. But in his heart, it was not just about the wallet anymore. It was about the young mother who chose honesty over temptation. And as the night grew quiet, Peter's mind was filled with only one thought: meeting Martha. The next morning, Mr. Peter woke up early. He asked his mother, Mama, where does the young girl live? The one who returned my wallet. His mother gave him directions and added softly, Be kind to her, my son. She has suffered enough. Peter nodded, then entered his big black truck and drove straight to Martha's compound. Meanwhile, Martha had just stepped out of her small hut. Kenneth and Kevin were still sleeping. She was about to sweep the compound when her eyes caught sight of a huge black truck parked quietly outside. Her heart skipped. Who could this be? She thought. Inside the truck, a man was seated, watching her. It looked as if he had been waiting there for a long time. Slowly, the door of the truck opened and Mr. Peter stepped out. He was tall, well-dressed, and his face carried both strength and kindness. Martha quickly bent her knees in greeting. Good morning, sir. Peter gave a small smile. So, you are the good Samaritan who returned my wallet yesterday? Yes, sir, Martha answered softly, her lips forming a faint smile. Peter took a step closer, his eyes studying her carefully. My mother told me about you. She told me how you have suffered, how people mock you every day, and yet when you found my wallet, you returned it without touching a single thing. Even the local currency inside. You did not take it. He paused, his voice heavy with emotion. I was in awe. You are a good girl. You don't deserve the pain you are going through, and to think you are just about the age of my own daughter. Martha's eyes filled with tears. Her lips trembled, but she said nothing. Peter reached into his pocket and pulled out an envelope. He held it out to her. From today, you will no longer carry this burden alone. Take this money. Use it for yourself and your children. Think carefully about what you would like to do with your life. When you are ready, come to me. I will help you. Martha fell to her knees, clutching the envelope with both hands. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Thank you, sir. Thank you. May God bless you. May your children never suffer. Peter bent slightly and touched her shoulder gently. Stand up, my daughter. This is only the beginning. Martha stood, her eyes still wet with tears. For the first time in a long while, hope filled her. Days later, Stephanie and Cynthia came again to visit Martha. They found her seated outside her hut, a basin in front of her, washing Kevin and Kenneth's clothes. The sun was warm and the boys played nearby, laughing as they splashed water. Ah, our friend, Cynthia called out happily. How are you today? Martha smiled. I am fine, my sisters. You are welcome. They exchanged greetings and sat with her. Almost immediately, Cynthia leaned forward, her eyes full of curiosity. Martha, tell me that wallet. What did you finally do with it? I hope you did not return it. As I said that day, Martha looked at her and smiled playfully. Sorry to disappoint you, my dear friend. I returned the wallet that same day. Cynthia threw her hands up. Ah, Martha, you and this your holy heart. But Stephanie nodded her head firmly. You did the right thing. Even if you had used the money to start a business, it would not have lasted. Money that does not belong to you cannot bring peace. It would only bring problems later. Martha nodded slowly. Yes, that is true. Then she leaned closer and lowered her voice. But let me tell you what happened after. The very next morning, the man himself came to my house. He appreciated me. He gave me some money and told me to take my time and think about what I would like to do with my life. He promised to sponsor me. Stephanie and Cynthia's faces lit up with joy. Martha, this is wonderful, Cynthia said, clapping her hands. So what business will you do now? Martha sighed. I don't know yet. I have not been able to come up with any idea. The three friends sat in silence for a moment. Then Stephanie spoke up. What about poultry farming? Martha looked at her curious. Poultry? Yes. Stephanie continued. I have a cousin in the next village. His poultry farm produces over 50 crates of eggs every day. Imagine selling that at 5,000 naira per crate. Do you know how much that is? It is big money. Cynthia's eyes widened. That is true. Eggs sell every day. People cannot do without it. Stephanie leaned closer. Martha, you already have a piece of land you can use for it. Yes, it will need a lot of money to start, but if that man is ready to sponsor you, then this is the perfect business. Martha was quiet for a while, thinking the only sound was the laughter of her children in the background. Finally, she looked at her friends with tears in her eyes. This sounds like a perfect idea. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you, Cynthia. You both are truly God's gift to me. I don't know what I would have done without you. The three friends held hands and smiled at each other. But deep in Martha's heart, she knew this was more than just friendship. This was the beginning of a plan that could change her life forever. That night, the village was quiet. The moonlight slipped through the cracks of Martha's little hut. Kevin and Kenneth were already fast asleep beside her on the mat, their soft breathing filling the room, but Martha could not sleep. Her eyes stayed open, staring upward. Her mind was troubled. She kept thinking about what Stephanie had suggested earlier in the day. Poultry farming. Her heart beat faster as her thoughts grew louder. I have heard stories, she whispered to herself. They say poultry is delicate. A small sickness can wipe out all the birds in 1 week. What if I try and I fail? What if I lose everything? What if this one chance I have to change my life is wasted? She turned to look at her sleeping children. Kevin turned slightly, his small hand brushing her arm. Kenneth breathed softly against her shoulder. Martha's eyes filled with tears. I cannot fail them, she thought. This is not just about me. It is about them. Her thoughts kept running wild. She pressed her palms together and whispered into the quiet night, God, please help me. Show me the way. I don't want to make a mistake. For a while, she stayed silent, her heart still restless. Then suddenly a memory returned to her. It was from a book she once read back in school. She could still hear the words clearly in her head. The biggest risk is not taking any risk. Her eyes widened. Slowly, she sat up on the mat. She looked again at her children and wiped her tears. Yes, she whispered with new strength in her voice. I cannot keep running in fear. If I don't try, then I have already failed. I will do it. I will go for it. In that moment, her mind was made up. She decided that she was going to meet Mr. Peter the next day to share her decision with him. But as she lay back down, her heart still carried a quiet fear. She did not know if the road ahead would be smooth or full of storms. Yet, one thing was clear. Her life was about to change forever. The next morning, Martha woke up before the sun. She went to the stream as usual, carrying her children. She bathed them, fed them, and changed their clothes. Then, tying Kenneth to her back and carrying Kevin in her arms, she began the walk to the Achabe compound. Just as she was stepping into the compound, a black truck drove in. It was Mr. Peter. He rolled down the glass and smiled warmly. How are you, Martha? I trust your children are doing fine. Martha bent her knees in greeting. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for the money you gave us last time. Peter nodded. After parking the truck properly, he stepped down and gestured. Please come in. They walked into the house together. In the living room, Mr. Peter's mother was seated on a chair. Martha bent low again in respect. Good morning, Mama. The old woman smiled. Good morning, my daughter. How are the children? They are fine, Mama. Thank you, Martha answered softly. After the pleasantries, Peter gestured for her to sit. I just came from the construction site, he said. I went to inspect the house I am building. But now, Martha, let us talk about you. Have you thought about what I told you last time? Have you decided on what to do? Martha took a deep breath and nodded. Yes, sir. I have been thinking carefully. I would like to go into poultry farming, specifically for egg production. Peter raised his brows, interested. Tell me more. Martha sat upright, her voice steady. If I start with 500 hens, by the time they reach production, they can give me at least 15 crates of eggs every day. The business is easy to expand and eggs sell fast because people eat them every day. I know poultry comes with risks, like sickness that can wipe out the birds, but I am willing to learn. Stephanie, a friend of mine, told me about her cousin in the next village, who has a large farm. I can meet him for mentorship. That way, I'll understand both the risks and opportunities and how to avoid the risks. As she spoke, Peter and his mother nodded along, impressed by her clarity. When she finished, Peter smiled. You are brilliant, Martha. You have thought this through very well. I believe you will succeed in this. Then his mother added, My daughter, you have spoken well. But have you thought about your children? When you are busy with the birds, who will help you care for Kevin and Kenneth? Peter turned to his mother and nodded. That is a good point, Mama. Martha, in that case, you will need to get a helper. Someone we can pay monthly. That way you will have time to run the business without worry. He paused, then leaned forward. Here is what we will do. Make inquiries. Find out the cost of everything. Building the poultry house, buying the equipment, and starting with 1,000 chicks. Martha's eyes widened. Her hand flew to her mouth. 1,000 chicks? Oh my goodness. Sir, that is too much. She tried to go on her knees to thank him, but Peter quickly raised his hand. Please don't do that. You have thanked me enough. This 1,000 chicks is just the beginning. If you run it well and finish your first production cycle successfully, I will increase it to your days of crying are over. Tears rolled down Martha's face as she heard those words. She pressed her children close to her heart. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mama. May God bless you. May your children never lack. Peter's mother smiled warmly. You deserve it, my daughter. You have been through too much. I am glad God has finally sent you a helper. Martha's tears fell freely, but this time they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of hope. After that meeting with Mr. Peter, Martha did not waste time. She knew this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and she was not going to play with it. The very next day, she went to Stephanie. My sister, please help me. Talk to your cousin for me. Tell him I want to learn poultry farming under him. Even if it means working in his farm, I don't mind. I just want to learn. Stephanie looked at her with a warm smile. Don't worry, I will talk to him. A week later, Stephanie came back with good news. Martha, my cousin agreed. After I told him all you have been through, he said he will mentor you for free. Martha's eyes filled with tears of joy. She hugged Stephanie tightly. Thank you, my sister. Thank you. May God bless you. Not long after, Martha found a helper to stay with Kevin and Kenneth whenever she needed to be away. Just as Mr. Peter had advised, she made sure the helper would be paid a monthly salary. With her children safe, Martha began to travel to the next village where Stephanie's cousin taught her everything. How to feed the birds, how to clean the poultry, how to prevent diseases, and how to keep records. Weeks later, when she was ready to start, Mr. Peter kept his promise. He provided all the money she needed to set up her farm. From building the poultry house to buying equipment and bringing in 1,000 chicks, everything was covered. Martha was full of excitement. Each day she worked with diligence. She fed the birds, cleaned their pens, and applied everything she had learned. Slowly, her little poultry farm came alive. One bright morning, as she bent down to scatter feed for the birds, she heard a sudden deep voice behind her. You are doing well, young lady. Startled, she turned quickly, but her fear melted into laughter. It was Stephanie standing there with her cousin. Ah, you people almost scared me, Martha laughed, placing her hand on her chest. Stephanie smiled. We came to check on you. I told my cousin it was time he inspected your farm himself. Her cousin walked through the poultry house slowly, nodding in approval. Everything looks fine, he said. You are keeping the place clean. The birds are healthy. Keep this up and you will succeed. Martha's heart swelled with joy. She looked at both of them with gratitude. I don't know how to thank you. The love you have shown me. I will never forget it. They all laughed and talked as they walked around the farm, sharing stories and plans for the future. From time to time, Mr. Peter also visited to check on her progress. He would walk around the poultry, nodding proudly and remind her, "Your hard work will pay off. This is only the beginning." Martha knew he was right. For the first time in her life, she felt her dreams were finally within reach. Uncle Samuel had been watching from a distance for weeks. The same piece of land he once tried to force out of Martha's hands was now alive with 1,000 birds. The noise of clucking filled the air, and the smell of fresh feed carried across the farm. One morning, as Martha bent down, scattering feed for the chickens, Uncle Samuel stood quietly beside the thick bush that bordered her farm. He hid himself, watching close. Martha hummed softly while working. Kevin and Kenneth played happily near the corner of the poultry house. She moved with confidence, her hands steady, her face calm. Uncle Samuel bit his finger as he stared. His eyes followed her every move. He had heard the story. Everyone in the village had. Martha had returned a lost wallet. A wealthy man from overseas had stepped into her life. Now she had the full support of someone too powerful for him to fight. For the first time, he felt powerless. The land he wanted was no longer his to touch. The girl everyone once mocked was now stronger than he ever imagined. He whispered to himself bitterly, "It is over. I cannot win this battle." Then, slowly, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the bush path. But deep in his heart, anger still burned. He knew he could not fight Martha directly anymore. Yet something told him he was not done watching her. 18 weeks later, Martha's poultry farm was alive with activity. The hens had grown strong, and now they were producing eggs in full capacity. Every morning the sound of clucking filled the farm as crates upon crates of eggs were gathered. Stephanie's cousin played a big role in this success. One day, he took Martha along with him to the city, where he usually supplied his eggs. He introduced her to his own buyer. "This is Martha," he told them proudly. "She is new in this business, but her eggs are fresh and clean. You can trust her." So, over time, Martha built her own network of buyers. Soon, her name began to spread. Every week, more people came to her farm, and every day, money flowed into her hands. At night, Martha would sit on the mat in her hut, counting the money she had earned that day. Kevin and Kenneth would play around her, laughing as they threw their small toys. Martha would smile, tears of joy in her eyes. "God, thank you," she whispered. "You have turned my shame into blessings." With time, she saved enough to buy more land. Just as he promised, Mr. Peter scaled up her farm to 5,000 chicks. And from there, the business only grew. 10 years later, Martha had become a household name in farming. Her poultry farm had expanded to over 20. She had added piggery and goat farming. Every morning, more than 550 crates of eggs left her farm, loaded into vans she had bought with her own money, going to different cities to supply. The income was massive. Millions of naira came in every week. With wisdom, Martha invested. She built houses in different cities and rented them out, adding another stream of income. Her children, Kevin and Kenneth, were no longer the little boys the village once mocked. They were now grown, studying in one of the most reputable secondary schools in the country. The same villagers who once laughed at Martha now greeted her with respect. "Good morning, madam," they would say. "You are a blessing to this community." Martha only smiled humbly, never forgetting where she started. Deep in her heart, she knew one thing: honesty and hard work had brought her this far. Years passed, and Martha's story became the pride of the community. Her farms had grown so large that hundreds of men and women now worked there. Every morning, the village roads were busy with workers heading to her poultry, piggery, and goat farms. Where once there was poverty, now there was opportunity. Martha did not stop at farming. She built a community hospital and a school so children would no longer walk miles to learn. In honor of her late mother, she set up a scholarship scheme for young girls who had dropped out of school. She called it the Grace Foundation. At the launch, she stood proudly with tears in her eyes. "This is for my mother," she said. "No girl should ever be mocked or abandoned because of hardship." Stephanie and Cynthia stood by her side that day. They were no longer just friends. Martha made them directors of her foundation. Together, they reached even more lives. Martha also never forgot the man who first believed in her. She spoke often with Mr. Peter and his family abroad. Each time they called, Peter would smile and say, "I am proud of the woman you have become, Martha. You are proof that honesty and hard work bring true success. Martha took Peter's mother as her own. She cared for the old woman, ensuring her last years were filled with joy and comfort. And what about the villagers who once mocked her? They now bowed their heads in shame each time they saw her. Some came forward to apologize. Others simply kept quiet. But one thing was clear. They had all learned a bitter lesson. One evening, Martha stood outside her large home, watching Kevin and Kenneth return from school in their smart uniforms. She smiled as they came down from the car and ran into her arms while their driver stood watching and smiling. Everything we have today, she whispered to them, came because we did not give up, never look down on anyone. Because of their present situation, life can change in a single moment. The sun set behind her, casting a golden light on the once rejected girl who had become the pride of her people. And so ended the story of Martha, the orphan, the mocked teenage mother, who turned her pain into power and her shame into greatness. Dear viewers, Martha's story reminds us of a deep truth. Life has a way of humbling the mighty and lifting the lowly. Never judge someone by their current circumstances, because the one overlooked today might be the same person everyone honors tomorrow. Integrity, patience, and hard work can open doors that wealth alone never could. What are your thoughts on Martha's journey? Share them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, another inspiring story is coming soon, so be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay updated. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.